Welcome the rare gems. What happens to a woman after she survives the grip of a narcissist? Does she remain the same, or does she step into a version of herself that even she did not expect? For the Sigma female, survival is never about just making it through. It is about absorbing the darkness, studying it, and then turning it into fuel for a rebirth that no one can take away from her. The narcissist tried to bend her, to reshape her into someone smaller, weaker, and easier to control. But what they never understood is that every attempt to break her only gave her sharper eyes, stronger instincts, and a heart that could no longer be fooled. She does not come out of the fire untouched. She comes out carrying the wisdom of the flames, no longer afraid of being burned again. This transformation is not about bitterness. It is about clarity. She learns to see through masks without needing anyone to explain. She learns that her energy is sacred and no longer wastes it on people who only take. She learns that even in darkness she can build her own light and walk forward with steady steps. If you have ever felt broken by manipulation, betrayal, or control, take courage in this truth. The Sigma female proves that survival is not weakness. Survival is power. And if she can turn the very things meant to destroy her into the foundation of her strength, then you too can rise above whatever tried to cage you. Let's dive into it, the rare gems. Number 1. She becomes a mirror breaker. And this is not just poetic language. Imagine living years being told who you are, having your reflection shaped by someone who only wanted control. A narcissist thrives by handing you a mirror that shows their version of you, not your own. It is a mirror of lies, telling you that you are not enough unless you please them, that your worth depends on their approval, that your reality must match their narrative. For a long time, many people unknowingly live through that reflection. But the Sigma female refuses to stay trapped there. Breaking the mirror means destroying every false image that was forced on her. She no longer allows her identity to be borrowed from someone else's story. She stops asking, "Who do they say I am?" and begins to ask, "Who am I really?" That is not easy. Think of it like standing in front of a cracked mirror that shows a distorted version of your face. At first you question if the distortion is your fault. Over time you realize the mirror itself is broken, not you. This transformation touches everyday life. She no longer accepts empty compliments designed to control her. She no longer entertains guilt trips that demand her obedience. When someone tries to gaslight her, she recognizes it instantly because she has lived through it before. The games no longer work. Living in her truth means she gives herself permission to grow outside of their shadow. She sets boundaries without guilt. She learns to say no without feeling like she owes an explanation. She begins to choose relationships, work, and goals that align with her own values rather than those handed to her. Breaking the mirror is a declaration that she will no longer be defined by illusions. She stands in front of life without needing a reflection at all, because she has become her own source of truth. That is power. That is freedom. Number 2. She becomes a strategist in relationships. And this is not a skill she picked up from reading a book or listening to advice. It is something forged through experience, the kind of experience that burns away naivety and leaves only sharp awareness. After surviving the darkness of a narcissist, she no longer gives her time freely to anyone who asks for it. She understands that time is her most valuable currency, and she spends it carefully. Think about how most people handle relationships. Many give their attention to whoever is closest, or they pour themselves out trying to fix people who never intend to change. The Sigma female is different. She has walked through betrayal, manipulation, and emotional traps. She has seen how exhausting it is to feed someone who only takes without giving back. Because of this, she calculates, not in a cold or selfish way, but in a way that respects her own worth. Imagine her as a chess player. Every move is intentional. She notices who consistently shows up, who makes empty promises, and who disappears when she needs them most. She invests in people who prove their loyalty, not in those who only bring chaos. She does not waste her energy arguing with someone who twists the truth. Instead, she pulls her energy back and uses it where it will grow. This strategy also shapes her love life. She no longer falls for charm or sweet words alone. She pays attention to patterns, actions, and consistency. If a person's actions do not align with their words, she steps away. If a friendship drains her more than it builds her, she quietly withdraws. In everyday life, this looks like choosing peace over drama, depth over surface-level connections, and growth over stagnation. Being a strategist does not make her hard, it makes her wise. It means she finally understands that not every relationship deserves a seat at her table. She has walked through fire and now guards her energy with precision. Every relationship is an investment, and she only pours herself into those who bring value, honesty, and mutual respect. That is not coldness. That is survival turned into wisdom. Number 3. She becomes a living archive of human darkness, and that phrase holds more weight than it first appears. To be an archive means she carries with her every experience, every scar, and every betrayal, not as chains, but as records. These records are not stored in bitterness, but in wisdom. She remembers what manipulation looks like, what lies sound like, and what false love feels like. Instead of trying to erase these memories, she catalogs them carefully, turning them into a library of lessons that protect her from ever stepping into the same traps again. Think of someone who has been scammed once. The next time they see the same pattern, they recognize it instantly. That is exactly how the Sigma female operates in relationships, friendships, and even work environments. When someone tries to use guilt to control her, she immediately recalls the time she allowed it before and how damaging it was. When someone showers her with over-the-top praise, she does not melt into it blindly because she knows how flattery can be used to cover hidden agendas. She does not forget, and that memory sharpens her instincts. In everyday life, this means she does not waste time learning the same painful lesson twice. If someone shows her inconsistency once, she registers it. If someone reveals selfishness, she files it in her archive and does not excuse it the next time. Her experiences have made her both compassionate and discerning. She can empathize with people, but she will not sacrifice her peace for them. Her archive becomes a kind of armor, but not a heavy one. It is lightweight and flexible, protecting her without making her hard. It allows her to move through life with a clear eye, unshaken by the games that once disoriented her. She no longer fears the dark sides of people because she has studied them. She knows how they operate. This living archive is her silent advantage. While others may fall into the same patterns over and over, she steps over traps with ease. She does not carry bitterness, only memory. And in that memory lies her greatest protection and her deepest strength. Number 4. She becomes allergic to control, and this is not just a figure of speech. It is a deep reaction that rises from her very core. Once you have been controlled, once you have had your choices twisted, your emotions used against you, and your freedom suffocated, you begin to recognize control in all its subtle forms. The Sigma female who has survived that darkness does not simply dislike control, she rejects it completely, the way the body rejects poison. Picture this in everyday life. When someone tries to guilt her into doing something that does not feel right, she does not bend anymore. She senses the weight of that manipulation immediately and pulls back. If a boss tries to overstep and treat her like a puppet rather than a human being, she does not crumble. She calmly sets boundaries and makes it clear that her worth is not negotiable. Even in personal relationships, she no longer entertains people who demand blind obedience. She has lived through that once, and once was enough. Her resistance is not about rebellion for its own sake, it is about protecting her freedom. She knows that control often starts quietly. It can begin with small requests that ignore her needs, with constant criticism that chips away at her confidence, or with love that comes with hidden conditions. Because she has seen the final form of control, she recognizes its early signs and refuses to let it grow roots. This makes her presence powerful. People quickly learn that she cannot be pushed, bent, or caged. She will walk away from anything or anyone that tries to trap her. She would rather stand alone in truth than remain in a place where her spirit is caged. Her allergy to control becomes her greatest defense. It ensures she is no longer the woman who can be molded or silenced. She has tasted freedom after chains, and nothing in this world is strong enough to make her trade it again. That refusal to be caged is not defiance. It is survival transformed into self-respect, and it makes her untouchable. Number 5. She becomes someone who turns wounds into doorways, and this is where her transformation becomes extraordinary. Most people see pain as an ending, as something that leaves them broken with nothing left to give. But the Sigma female who has survived betrayal and manipulation sees pain differently. She understands that every wound carries within it the possibility of a new beginning. What was meant to destroy her becomes the very tool she uses to step into another stage of her life. Think about how a seed must first break before it can grow into a tree. That breaking looks like destruction, yet it is actually the start of life. Her pain works the same way. When she was betrayed, it forced her to learn the true meaning of loyalty. When she was lied to, it gave her eyes that now see through dishonesty without effort. When she was silenced, it taught her the value of her own voice. Every wound has a lesson, and she refuses to waste it. In everyday life, this means she does not cling to, "Why did this happen to me?" Instead, she asks, "What can I build from this?" If someone walks out of her life, she takes that emptiness and fills it with growth. If a plan falls apart, she uses the failure to create a better foundation for the future. Her ability to turn wounds into doorways keeps her moving forward while others stay stuck in the same pain. This does not mean she enjoys suffering. It means she has mastered the art of extracting wisdom from it. Her scars are not just reminders of what she endured. They are entry points to new stages of strength, wisdom, and resilience. By turning wounds into doorways, she proves that nothing can stop her. Every attempt to break her only builds another path. She has learned that pain does not end her story. It simply opens the next chapter, and she walks through it stronger than before. Number 6. She becomes a threat to falsehood because she now carries a calm presence that exposes lies without needing to argue. This is not about raising her voice or proving herself through endless debates. It is about the quiet strength she gained after surviving manipulation and deceit. She has lived through words that twisted reality, through conversations designed to confuse her, through situations where truth was buried under layers of charm and control. Now she no longer wrestles with lies, she simply sees through them. Imagine sitting with someone who tries to bend the truth in front of her. While others might get caught in the web, she remains still. Her silence itself becomes unsettling, because liars can feel when they are being seen. They sense that their tricks are no longer effective. Without her saying a word, the truth hangs heavy in the air. This calm presence is powerful in everyday life. In friendships, she no longer explains herself endlessly when falsely accused. She lets time and consistency reveal the truth. In her career, she does not waste energy chasing office gossip or defending herself against envy. Her steady work and character expose the lies without her lifting a finger. Even in family or romantic situations, she does not fight to be believed anymore. She knows the truth is patient and does not need constant defense. What makes her dangerous to falsehood is her refusal to react emotionally to it. Narcissists and manipulators feed on reactions, but she starves them by staying composed. Her calmness shines a spotlight on dishonesty, making liars stumble under their own weight. She becomes proof that truth does not need loudness to win. It only needs presence. And because she embodies that presence, falsehood fears her. Wherever she stands, lies collapse under their own weakness while she walks away untouched, carrying the quiet power of someone who no longer needs to argue with what she already knows. Number 7. She becomes emotionally ambidextrous, and that is one of the rarest skills a person can ever develop. Most people fall to one extreme. Some feel so deeply that they get lost in other people's problems, drowning in emotions that are not their own. Others swing to the opposite side and shut down completely, refusing to feel anything to protect themselves. The Sigma female learns to master both ends. She knows how to feel everything with intensity, but she also knows how to detach the moment she senses her compassion being weaponized against her. Picture a friend who constantly plays the victim, always asking for help but never changing their behavior. Many would keep pouring themselves out of pity, hoping their kindness will be enough. The Sigma female has a different approach. She will give her empathy, listen with an open heart, and offer real support. But the second she notices that her care is being used as a tool to trap her, she steps back, not with anger, but with precision. This balance shows up in her love life too. She loves deeply, with full sincerity, but she does not cling to someone who treats her love as something to exploit. If she notices manipulation, she can detach without hesitation. That ability to walk away, even while still caring, is what protects her from being drained. In everyday life, this makes her unshakable. She can sit with a friend in their pain without drowning in it herself. She can give kindness without being pulled into endless cycles of giving with nothing in return. Her emotional flexibility allows her to connect without losing herself. Being emotionally ambidextrous means she has the best of both worlds. She feels with depth, yet she guards her heart with wisdom. She is never hardened, but she is never naive again either. It is this balance that makes her both safe to love and impossible to manipulate. Her emotions are her strength, but her ability to detach instantly is her shield. Number 8. She becomes a master of withdrawal, and that skill alone makes her untouchable. Most people are taught to keep giving explanations, to defend themselves endlessly, or to stay in unhealthy situations hoping things will change. The Sigma female has learned a different lesson. She knows that sometimes the most powerful move is not a fight, not a debate, not even a confrontation. It is the quiet removal of her presence. When she withdraws, the manipulator loses the stage, the fuel, and the control they depend on. Think about how fire needs oxygen. Without it, the flames die out no matter how strong they once were. Manipulators are the same. They thrive on reaction, on engagement, on keeping her tied up in their cycle. But she has mastered the art of cutting off that oxygen. She senses when her energy is being drained, and instead of pleading for respect or trying to prove her point, she simply steps back. In everyday life, this might look like ending a conversation the moment it turns into a trap. It might mean no longer answering the late-night calls from someone who only reaches out when they need something. It could be quietly distancing herself from a friendship where support only flows one way. She does not announce her withdrawal with dramatic exits. She just does it, and the silence that follows becomes more powerful than any argument could ever be. What makes her mastery unique is timing. She knows exactly when to pull away. Too soon, and it looks like avoidance. Too late, and she risks being drained. Her awareness, sharpened by experience, tells her the precise moment to walk away. And when she does, the manipulator is left powerless, staring at the emptiness where their control used to live. Withdrawal is not weakness. It is her way of saying, you no longer have access to me. It is both protection and punishment, because nothing unsettles a manipulator more than losing the audience they once controlled. For her, withdrawal is not escape. It is strategy, and it always leaves her stronger. Number 9. She becomes a quiet storm, and that phrase describes a power that is both subtle and undeniable. On the surface, she carries herself with calmness, the kind that makes her look unbothered and steady. But beneath that stillness lies a force that cannot be ignored. It is not loud, it is not chaotic, yet it unsettles anyone who underestimates her. A storm does not always begin with thunder. Sometimes it starts with a silence so heavy that those around can feel the shift in the air. That is the kind of presence she embodies. Her calmness is not the absence of power, it is the control of it. Think of the ocean on a still day. To the eye it seems peaceful, but anyone who knows the sea understands the strength of the currents beneath. That is her nature. When people assume she is passive, they misjudge her. When they try to test her boundaries, they discover the depth of her resilience. Her silence is not emptiness, it is focus. In everyday life, this shows up in simple but unforgettable ways. At work, she does not waste her voice, arguing in circles. She listens, she observes, and when she finally speaks, her words carry the weight of someone who does not talk just to fill space. In relationships, she does not respond to manipulation with shouting matches. She remains composed, and that composure alone unsettles those trying to provoke her. Even in conflict, her calmness becomes the storm because it exposes the weakness of the other side. The quiet storm is her greatest advantage because it means she does not need theatrics to prove her strength. She does not need to fight loudly for people to feel her presence. Her power lies in her ability to hold everything inside without breaking, and, when necessary, to release it with precision. Those who underestimate her often regret it because they confuse calm with fragile. What they fail to realize is that storms do not need permission to change the landscape. She carries that same force within her, ready whenever life demands it. Number 10. She becomes untouchable in spirit. And this does not mean she has lived a life free of pain. It means she has faced it, carried it, and survived it without allowing it to define her anymore. Pain used to hold her hostage. It told her what she could not do, where she could not go, and who she could not be. But after walking through the fire and coming out on the other side, she understands something most people never realize. Pain may visit, but it no longer owns her. This shift is powerful because it changes how she approaches life. Imagine someone who was once afraid of heartbreak. After surviving it, they no longer fear love because they know even if it breaks them again, they have the strength to rise. The Sigma female carries that same courage. She does not live in fear of betrayal, failure, or disappointment. She has already felt the weight of these things and has proven to herself that they cannot destroy her. In everyday life, this shows in her calm resilience. When something falls apart, she does not spiral the way she once did. She allows herself to feel the sting, but she refuses to let it take over her spirit. When people try to use her past against her, she does not shrink back. Instead, she reminds herself that every scar on her soul is proof of survival, not defeat. What makes her untouchable is not that she avoids pain, but that she has mastered it. She no longer runs from difficult moments. She faces them knowing they cannot strip her of her essence. She no longer believes that hardship defines her worth. Instead, she sees it as part of her growth. Untouchable in spirit means she is free. Free to risk, free to love, free to grow, and free to walk away when something no longer serves her. Pain has lost its grip, and that freedom is what makes her unstoppable. Number 11. She becomes the rare woman who can sit with both darkness and light without losing herself. And that makes her one of the most extraordinary beings you will ever meet. Most people choose sides. Some try to live only in the light, avoiding anything painful or uncomfortable, pretending that shadows do not exist. Others get swallowed by darkness, carrying bitterness and resentment that cloud every part of their lives. But the Sigma female learns to embrace both. She does not deny the darkness she has seen, and she does not reject the light that guides her forward. Instead, she weaves them together to shape a soul that no one can control. This ability comes from her survival. She has lived through manipulation, betrayal, and heartbreak. She knows how cruel the world can be, but she has also tasted moments of peace, love, and kindness. She understands both ends of the spectrum, and instead of letting either consume her, she allows both to teach her. The darkness gave her strength, the light gave her hope. Together they made her unshakable. In everyday life, this balance shows in her choices. When others panic in hard times, she remains steady because she has already walked through worse. When others lose themselves in joy and forget reality, she stays grounded because she knows how quickly things can change. She does not live in denial, nor does she live in despair. She carries both realities inside her, and that balance gives her unmatched clarity. What makes her rare is that she does not fear either side. She can sit with pain without letting it destroy her. She can enjoy happiness without clinging to it desperately. She moves through life with a soul that cannot be manipulated because no one can use light or darkness against her. She has already made peace with both. This rare power makes her untouchable. It allows her to live authentically, fully, and freely, with a strength that inspires and a depth that cannot be imitated. She is whole, not because life was easy, but because she learned to embrace it all. Number 12. She becomes a woman who walks with scars not as decoration but as evidence of the battles she has already won. Her scars are not there to invite pity, nor are they something she tries to hide. They are living proof that she has endured what others could not even imagine and still chose to rise. Every scar tells a story, and together they form the map of her resilience. Think about it. A scar only exists because healing has already taken place. It is not an open wound anymore. It is the body's reminder that something tried to destroy her but failed. In the same way, her emotional and spiritual scars remind her daily that she has survived betrayal, manipulation, and heartbreak. While others might see these as marks of weakness, she knows they are marks of victory. In everyday life, this perspective changes how she carries herself. When someone tries to shame her for her past, she does not shrink back. She understands that those painful chapters are exactly what shaped her strength today. If she trusted the wrong person before, the scar from that mistake now guards her against falling into the same trap again. If she endured cruelty, the scar reminds her that compassion is still her choice, not something others can take from her. Her scars also make her relatable. People feel safe opening up to her because they sense she has been through real struggles. She does not preach from a place of theory. She speaks from lived experience. She has cried, she has broken, and she has rebuilt herself. That makes her wisdom authentic. Walking with scars as evidence means she no longer hides her journey. She wears it as quiet strength. She does not need to prove her resilience through words because the scars themselves speak louder. They tell the world she has already fought battles, and she has already won. That makes her not just a survivor, but a warrior who continues to move forward undefeated. In final words, what does it mean to come out of the darkest chapter of your life and realize you are no longer the same person who walked in? For the Sigma female, surviving the grip of a narcissist is not just survival, it is transformation. She does not come out untouched, but she comes out unmatched. The very shadows that were meant to break her became the forge that shaped her into someone stronger, sharper, and freer than she ever imagined. She becomes a woman who carries truth like armor. She becomes someone who can see through masks, who can step away from control without hesitation, who can turn wounds into wisdom and pain into power. Every scar she carries is not a reminder of defeat, but proof that she cannot be kept down. The narcissist wanted her silence, her submission, her dependence, but instead gave her the greatest gift of all, the chance to rebuild herself on her own terms. And this is the encouragement for anyone listening. Darkness does not mean the end. Struggle is not the final chapter. What tried to destroy you may be the very thing that equips you with vision, strength, and clarity. The Sigma female proves that survival is not about returning to who you were before, but becoming someone greater because of what you endured. So ask yourself this: if she can turn ashes into fire, what can you do with the pain you carry? The answer might just be the beginning of your own transformation. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you.